Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, your boy from the great number one network on the air, coming to you
Mm.
live and direct with Jah-Malie Douglas. And so, one of the key things you guys don't know that this is my brother, y'all. This is family.
Real
This
deal.
is family. This is my brother, and he is someone that I've always admired for years, someone I have always held in admiration and respect. He's my older brother, and just throughout his life, his life has been so impactful. And but the one thing he's always done is kept it real. He's kept it real with me, and everyone that knows him can attest to the same thing. And so I wanted to bring you all the realest person I know, the real
Uh,
deal, living truth, Jah-Malie Douglas, my big brother, to share with us his journey as he went through this new venture of acquiring land, but not just land, not just any kind of land, but land of foreclosure from the tax collector's office. And so he's a family man. He's a family man first. He's huge on family. Uh, Married for over 10 plus years, has three wonderful kids, my nieces and nephews. I love them dearly, as although I haven't come to see them. Shame on me, but I will. I'm changing that. I'm changing that. I'm
okay.
gonna
Okay.
change the
Yeah, they
spectrum
need
on
to.
that. But I need to come and see them. So, bro, thank you for being on the show today. On behalf of my audience, on behalf of me, I thank you for making time for us, and I appreciate you very much, very, very much.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. It's a blessing. Peace.
Peace, peace, peace. Absolutely. He's also not only is he into real estate, but he's a hardworking man. A lot of my drive, a lot of my motivation comes from um, learning from him and watching him. And what he doesn't know, which I'm about to spill the tea on today, is
Mm.
one of he was my first influence to joining the Navy. I joined the Navy because of him. And so, he went in first. He led the family tree in that direction. So I followed suit because I admired him in that way. And so tell us, why did you join? 'Cause I just told you why I joined. Why did you join the United States Navy? Why did you join to serve our country?
Okay. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. I do remember there was a discussion about going enlisted an officer, but it's cool.
You warned me. You warned me.
Yeah, yeah. So I joined first and foremost because where we came from, there wasn't a lot of opportunities. We come from a small island, and I didn't really see much, and I wanted to see the world. And there's several different branches, and all of them pretty much guarantee that you'll see other places. But I wanted to see as many places in as short amount of time as possible, and the Navy provided that. And I've always loved being out to sea and on the water, and I wanted to be on a boat, so that pretty much clinched it for me. And then there was a college bonus because I wanted to go to college after. That was a big kicker. So yes, I went ahead and went Navy.
And you did 4 years total, and then you did some reserve time.
Yeah.
What did you felt like it changed you? I think it changed me. I think it grew me a little bit. It matured me a little bit.
Mm.
How was your experience?
For me, I look at my Navy time like most people see their college period. Because I didn't go straight to college, my Navy time was my college coming into manhood, stepping out into the real world time for me. So yes, I did mature a lot. I met so many different people, mingled with so many different cultures, and had experiences that nobody my age was having unless they were in with me, you know. And we kind of were forced to grow up.
We
And
were.
I appreciate my time in the military because I don't know what would have happened had it not provided me those opportunities to see so much and travel and be all these places and experience things on my own.
True. Very true. What my brother y'all is referencing is because we grew up on a small island. I mean, you could drive the entire island in a span of a couple hours, and you've now seen everything. That's it. And so what
Mhm.
my brother is sharing is that that was kind of our way to get away. Is our That was our escape. That's what I joined because of him, and I saw how influential, how impactful. All of a sudden, my brother is buying real estate. Now he's owning a home. Now he bought his first car. His second car. Now he's. I saw the impact that the Navy did in his life, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, what the heck? He's calling me like, hey, bro, check these J's out. He sent me some J's for school, and no one on the island had it.
That deployment money.
That deployment money. He comes back from deployment. And he said, bro, check this out. I just got these from, I don't know, Dubai, Spain, or someplace. He pulled import, and he sent them to me, and no one on the island had it. And so again, me looking at him and admiring him, I said, let me find out what's going on with this Navy thing, because this is huge. This is major. And just so impactful. How did you find your way into real estate?
Well, I think pursuing the American dream is what kind of brought us into real estate, because we bought our first home in 2018. We had a lot going on. It always seems like we always have so much going on. I don't know if it's because I just like to keep busy or what, but my wife was 9 months pregnant.
Wow.
I was going to school full time. I was working. And so when we moved into the house, January 8th, 2018, newly bought house. And my second daughter was born January 14th. She was helping me move while she was 9 months pregnant. It was just us because we didn't know anyone. We've always been kind of independent in everything that we did. So that was our introduction. We just wanted a home. We wanted the white picket fence, and we were sold on that. We were tired of giving money every month, renting, and we just kind of talked about it, and it was like, we're paying towards what though? This is our second child. In total, we have 3. This is our second together, and we're not putting anything lasting. So that was kind of what clinched it for us. And then around 2014, what really lit the match, me and my wife went to a real estate seminar in El Paso, Texas. And the seminar, it was led by some people, I won't call any names, but they were giving you just enough that it intrigues you and you want to know more, but you can't do anything on your own unless you pay what for us was a whopping amount of money. It was a large amount of money. So from then, after attending that seminar, it was kind of like, so if we have to learn this from you, are you telling me you paid someone this amount of money to learn it from them? Like, how did you get to where you were?
True. True.
So then we started looking online, and we started asking around, and and then we started just piecing together things. The fact that my wife is military, she retires next year.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. So we were always moving around, and we didn't have a place to put down roots, so we didn't want to purchase anything just then. But that real estate class, along with having our own house and going through the ups and downs of tenants and everything, it's kind of like, you're doing it. Why not really do it? So that's what lit the match, really.
And so when you say you were that seminar, it like you said, it gave you a sample, it gave you a taste of the potential that you had at your fingertips, being that you're in your first home.
Exactly.
Did I understand that correctly?
That's correct.
And so you saw an opportunity to do it better than what they were teaching at the seminar. Did the seminar help, or was it a waste of time? Or do you feel it just steered your head in the right direction? But what was the outcome of that seminar?
I would say the seminar, it kind of it kind of woke us up to what we could be doing. I wouldn't say that we could do it better than them, because they're on a large scale now.
Right.
They're, doing the flips, the fast flips and the wholesaling, but we kind of, it opened us up to maybe finally establishing a way to invest our money that will last for a very long time.
That's real. That's real. And so with that first jump, how any lessons learned, any things that you would do differently, anything that you would change?
There's tons of lessons. I don't even know where to begin. There's tons of lessons. The first lesson, the most important lesson, would be cash on hand. Like when they say cash is king, it's true. Cash on hand and cash in reserves could open a lot more doors for you than trying to look for something that's no money down, or, like you're trying to see what requires the least amount of investment when you should be looking for what's the best investment for what I can bring.
Mm.
And I think that was the largest thing. And I would say I would say to find people that know more than you do, because there's real estate agents and there's property inspectors and there's attorneys and all these people that know a lot about specific things that you may know a little about, but not enough to really just maneuver through this game. And I would say to make, like, people always say to network, but it's true. In anything that you do, try to network and find people, talk to your people. Because my next door neighbor ended up, he was retired Air Force. He passed, rest in peace, about 8 years ago.
I'm sorry.
He neighbor over on this side, come to find out just from talking to him, he does property inspections. And because he really liked us, like he invited us to his family reunion and everything, he really liked us. He would have been doing
Your
property inspections for
inspections.
free for us, or for next to nothing,
Oh my God.
which is big, because the more inspections and the more people that you have, like contractors and stuff that it just opens doors.
It does. It truly does. That could have blossomed into something powerful. What he's talking about, y'all, is property inspectors charge you per property. So going into the multifamily arena, which is what he's referencing, if you're doing a property inspection on a 5-unit apartment building, he's charging you for each inspection on each door. And so that connection with his neighbor could save him up front upwards of $3,500 out the door. If it's $500-$400 per door, that connection, that partnership, which is what my brother is referencing, could be, there's no dollar amount that could equate to that value that his neighbor brought. And they were just friends. They were good friends. That's powerful. How did you keep in the transition from that first home? How did you manage to keep your family together as the father, a pregnant wife, the military, dealing with the military transition? Were you still in the military in that first home along with your wife, or were you transitioning, or where were you in that stage of the first home?
In the first home, I was making my transition, really trying to find myself after I got out the reserves and everything else. So I was distancing myself from the military, trying to find myself as a civilian person. She's still obviously in, and she was still in at the time. So I guess the way that we keep our family together is we always seem to be in constant transition, because with the constant military moves and things always are moving, and TDYs and deployments and schedule changes and everything, with both parents working, children, and you want to get them into activities, we're constantly in transition. What I have found is that we need time to ourselves. So me and my wife, we may just go and go take little trips, family trips by ourselves, or like I've sent her to Panama City Beach to kick it with some friends because I know she was stressing at the time, and we all need to detox and kind of get ourselves back focused, and we do that, and
Yes.
there's
Yes.
temperature checks, meetings. We meet with our family, and I talk to my daughters, and like they're adults. I've never talked to them kitty style or goo goo gaga. I've always talked to them the way I'm talking to you.
Right.
So if you talk to them like this is how they talk, they don't talk like how old they are. They talk pretty much like adults because that's how I treat them. That's what they're going to become. So I talk to them like that, and I include them in decisions. I ask them how would you feel, or how do you feel about this? What do you think about this? And I don't think it really registered with my daughter, like how much that means, or that's not necessarily normal to some people, until we were by some friends' homes, and we were talking about, can't remember what we were talking about at the time, but I was asking her, what would you think if we did this? Would you think that'd be a good move? And then one of the little girls, her age, was like, my father never talked to me like that.
Mm.
And I think it clicked to her, like, so everybody doesn't do this? No, you just need to check in with everyone. Even like now with the pandemic, check in with your kids. See where they are. Do temperature checks every so often.
I like that. I like that. And so we're fast forwarding a little bit, and today you discovered something about that first property. You own other property, but you discovered something about that
Mhm.
first property that you've now acquired. And so how did you find out? How did you realize that? What made you realize that unique key about this? In my opinion, that's a gold mine, right? To be able to look back on your first deal and realize you missed like it's like finding a treasure chest. It's like you've been sitting on it for, you've
Mhm.
had this opportunity, and maybe it wasn't timing, maybe it wasn't God's timing
Exactly.
for you,
Timing.
right? Because maybe you couldn't make those moves with that at the time because you didn't know, like you said, TDYs, PCS move, Diddy
Mhm.
moves, packing up, leaving. Where are we going? Are we going to California? Are we going to Texas?
Yeah.
Where's to next? Alaska? Where to next? So, a lot of moving parts. What was that nugget? How did you find it? And walk us through how you found it.
Okay. So the how we got to it is actually, it was at least a decade in the making, because we bought this house in 2018, and at that point we just wanted a home. We wanted some place to call our own. We were setting down roots, even though we weren't fully settled. We still decided we wanted to set down roots. Right next door to our house, our brand new, just built, we're the first owners, there was this atrocious blue, like dark blue, ugly, look haunted thing next to our home, right? And up until recently, you could see this thing on Google Maps. It was horrible. So my wife, she just kind of planted the seed even back then. Like, what if we bought that? How much you think that would cost? Right? I,
Mm.
I didn't really pay it any mind. I just assumed that the person who lived there, they had passed, and their family took over the estate. So I assumed they would do something with it. Now, fast forward to when we're finally coming back now to Georgia, moving back into our home. So we were concerned about having to knock the house down. We look over, the house is gone. Now it's
Whoa.
just land, and the
Whoa.
land's been cleared already. So now it's like, okay, this might be time. We were talking about it for a while. It's always been in the back of our minds. This might be time. We go to the library, My wife again decides, hey, let's just look and see, that lot number. Let's just see. So we look up the public records because all of this information is public records. We look up online and we find the homes in our area to see who owns which plot and whatnot. And it's on there. And then from
by
there,
by name. There, that's public record.
yes,
The
you
name of
can
the
just
owner.
look up, your county or whatever and put in your area that you're looking for. It's just a search bar.
Wow.
And you can go to the county records online of wherever you live. And it came up, that plot number. You can see where your land begins, where it ends, and everything. It's on there. And we seen the 402, which is the next one to us. And we seen it. And then from there, we decided to go to the county record clerk. We went there and we asked her, basically what's going on with it, and she just gave us the information. It was ready to be up for auction in 3 months. So I'm looking at my wife like, this has to be fate. So
Yeah.
she gives me the number, tells me to call the county tax commissioner for this county. We call him. He puts our name on a list, tells us when the date is. We'll let you know. That was it. Now, I did look up, how to redeem a tax deed. I was thinking about tax liens from way before, but now that this came up, everything meshed. It was straight timing. So it kind of fell in our lap, and my wife, with her, her guidance, we went ahead and we went to the county record clerk, and we called the county commissioner, took our number, put us on the list, tell us when it was going to be. Pandemic hit. It was postponed. But at the time, I was like, you know what? This might be good timing also, because that means we could get some more time to put together some money now.
Yep.
We stacked up a little bit. Came time for the tax sale. I went to it.
You just showed up. You just showed up to. And how many people were in that room with you? How many was it? Like hundreds of people trying to buy that piece of parcel, or was it, all the auctions? They were trying to sell all these properties and all these land. What was that experience like? What was the adrenaline kick like?
That's exactly what it was, adrenaline. Because the county tax commissioner, he told me the date and the time, and I'm hyped. I was there. It's basically on the courthouse steps. Like, you hear that saying, on the courthouse steps? That's right. Exactly where it was. So he told me the address. I showed up there bright and early. I'm walking around. I was early, actually. I was like 30 minutes early. It's like 5 people. Okay. So this is going to be a cakewalk.
You got it. You got it. Right. You got it. It's in the bag.
5 minutes till there's droves of people crossing the street now to the courthouse. I'm like, oh, my heart is beating in my chest. This is going to be a lot harder than I thought.
Right.
So my wife is at work. She's trying to leave so she can meet me there, right? And I'm keeping her updated. So the tax commissioner is up on the steps with a bullhorn, basically telling us the rules, how this works and everything. So the lot was like the 6th or 7th lot up for bid, because when they get lots, it's a bunch of them.
Okay.
That they're trying to recoup money from the taxes.
Okay.
So my heart is beating in my chest. He goes over the rules, and then he calls the first one. And the first one, I can't remember what happened. It was like a 1900 or something it goes for, and there was no contest. I was like, okay. Maybe these people didn't come to play.
No one bid on it.
Huh?
No one bid on the first deal?
Someone bid on it, 1900, no contest. I was like, okay, that's not a lot of money. And They just got it. Maybe these people are just testing the waters. The next bid, it starts off at 8,000. This guy bids 85. Somebody else comes in 9,000, 10,000. So it ends up, it starts off with 3 people, comes down to 2, and it gets up to $16,000. And I'm like,
I'm done. I'm done.
So the guy just jumps from like 17.5 to 19,000. And then the guy, well, I'm out. And it was such a rush for me. It was kind of, I know it's a vice, but it was kind of like gambling. That rush you get, like I could win, and the anxiety, it was all there for me. But I loved it. Not gonna lie, it was a rush. So a couple other bids, another one, nobody bids on it all. I'm looking around, looking at what people are doing, and there's people on their laptops. So I'm trying to peek in to see what they're doing, and they're actually looking up the plots. Like there's lists and amounts, and there's spreadsheets.
They didn't give you like a brochure or like this so you could look it up in advance or nothing?
They did give you a brochure right before it started, and you can actually go online too to look up other plots, like a month before the actual auction is, which is what I suggest. I suggest if you're looking, get the list, drive around, go look at the plots. If you can get a contractor friend to go with you, get a property inspector to go with you, do that.
Like your neighbor.
Do that. So these people, there were some that were just really like they came to play. They had their laptops, they're calling mid-bid, they're calling, and it was pretty intense. So they get to mine, and he tallies up the amount of the taxes owed, and then he starts the bidding. Like nobody raises their hand. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll take that. That sounds amazing. Tries to up the price. Nobody bids. Like, all right, sold to the gentleman. And
what?
That was it.
What?
Like, I signed some paperwork. I had until 1:00 to pay them the money. It came out to like $2,800.
What? $2,800.
Yes.
People got mortgages. You basically got this land for a mortgage payment. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes. So it's definitely doable. Like I said, somebody else got a piece of property for 19, so it's doable. You don't have to be rich. What? Definitely not rich.
That's mind blowing. That's ridiculous, right? Because no one bid on it. Why do you think no one bid on it? Why do you think no one else? Were they all tapped out of money at this point? You think maybe because they had spent so much money on the previous deals? Like, hey, I ain't got a penny left. I gave it all on the first property. I'm out.
I think, like me, people knew what plots or what lots they came to get. And I think that's what it was. Like the only reason I think that previous bid got up to 19 is because it had to be something that those two men looked at before and they knew that's what they wanted. Now, I'm sure that there are people who invest in tons of real estate that were there with wads of cash. I didn't last that long. I got mines and I left.
So they still continued on the bidding. Was it like what you see on television? Where the guy's talking really fast and he's like, you got your number and you kind of raise your number really fast. It's like sold to the gentleman with the 2-piece on, and you're like, he's doing the symbols and you're scratching your head. Is it like that? Was it like that for real?
No, that might be in Kentucky or something, but this one was not like that. He called it clearly. He was trying to get through it, but he wasn't like, hey, no, he wasn't doing that.
Okay.
He enunciated his words. Tell you this is what it is, and all you have to do, you stick your hand up. All right, got you. Next, on to the next. Can I have this one? It was just as intense without the rambling.
Did your wife ever make it? Did she make it to the bidding?
Unfortunately, she did not make it in time.
Okay,
which it did actually go by pretty fast. She didn't make it, but I did keep her up to speed. Like with every lot, I was telling her what number they're up to and taking pictures. So I know she was excited too, but unfortunately, duty calls.
Absolutely. Tell us one more time how much you got the land for. One more time.
$2,800 approximately.
$2,800, y'all. That's how much he closed on that deal for that he got at auction. Land, soil, development. When you're thinking development, the most powerful thing I have ever heard in real estate is buy land, because they're not making any more of it. So, as you know, as we all know, or as we should know, land always goes up in value. Unlike the house that's on top of it, that may or may not go down because you maintain it or you don't maintain it. You upkeep the house. Land always goes up in value. And now here we have a brother, us, we all acquired land, real estate for $2,800. What is your plan? What is the plan? What is the goal, the vision for your family to what to do with that land? What do you all plan to do with that?
As of right now, I mean, I try to stay fluid as, things change. This plan too could change. I don't stick to one thing and say this is what's going to happen by this date and I write it on the vision board. I don't do that because look around us. You have to stay fluid and you have to stay flexible. As of right now, we would like to do at the very least a duplex on there. If we could get a triplex or a quadruplex, that would be awesome. But the thing about buying at the estate sales in Georgia, you do have to give the person who defaulted on the taxes a year to redeem it, right? So we can't do anything on it for a year. So right now, that's the plan. After the year, we start tilling the land and getting it prepped, start building. So it's either a duplex, triplex, or a quadruplex, depending on what the prices are like.
They have to contact you in that year. Do you have to
Yes.
put like an ad out? Do you have to say, hey, I'm the owner of your land. If you want it, come get it?
So in the first year, they have to get in contact with the county tax assessor so they could get in contact with me or give them my information for that first 12 months. After the 12 months, right, in Georgia, you can go ahead and issue you can issue a termination of the right of redemption. So after the 12 months, I go down to the tax commissioner's office, put in a termination of the right of redemption, and it's mine. But I do have to notify whoever is over this property, whoever the executor of the estate is, via the county sheriff. They have to contact them. There's a time frame for them to still give them some time to redeem it. By that time, after the year, it'll be whatever I paid, plus any additional taxes, any special assessments on the property, plus a premium of 20% of the amount of the first year or any fraction of the year that's passed since I bought it. So
that they have to pay to you.
Yes.
So wow.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, so so those percentages are factoring. You can't overinflate that price, right? You have to follow the guidelines and the stipulations to give them a fair opportunity to buy it back from you. But
yes,
there is an opportunity because you said 20% of its appreciated value.
Plus any taxes and fees, yes.
Plus any taxes and fees that you paid for that year of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you can't buy it for 28 and say, I'll give it back to you. That's $10,000.
No, I can't just add an amount. There's
inconvenience,
profit margin, and some change. But I can't just be like, yeah, I feel like it's worth 100,000. No. There's rules to it. But considering how long this has been and how far behind on their taxes they were, we seriously doubt that they will be trying to get it back. Because honestly, the property was kind of it was a drag on the estate from what we understand.
The community. It was lowering the value of the community.
It was lowering the value of the community because of the ugly house.
Yep.
But they were also like, there's mail being sent and taxes being assessed and nobody wanted to pay it. And then there's family bickering. Because like I said, it's a small community. I know basically who they were. So I seriously doubt that they're going to come get it. If they do, there's some taxes and fees and stuff that they still need to pay, which is a profit to us, and that's fine.
You still made out. You
Yeah,
still made out. There's no opportunity for you to walk away and not at least get what you paid for it, and
exactly.
to wash, rinse, and repeat the same process.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What 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 thought do you think to do what you did, to replicate what you did? Do you recommend in the current economic climate that you're in? What do you think? Do you think it's a good idea for families to own land? Do you think it's a good investment to add into any household's um, portfolio of ownership?
I think that real estate is solid. I think it does fluctuate just like any other investment, but I think it's one of the more solid investments. I would say, given the current climate, if you don't have a lot of cash reserves, you don't have income that is solid and stable. I mean, you can wait, but I would definitely suggest to anyone to look into investing in real estate, because especially if the investment is something that you can afford. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Sir. Yes, sir. And that's impactful. The reason why I asked that question, because that that person, there's that one person or two that is fearful. They're afraid. I know for me, buying my first home I was terrified. I was scared to death. I was like, no way, I'm gonna just rent for the rest of my life. If something breaks, I'm gonna call the landlord. He gonna fix it, or she gonna fix it. I was scared to death. I'll tell you how scared I was. When I was going through the process of buying my first home, I disappeared. I was so terrified. She's like, all right, we got a few documents to sign. And my broker and the bank emailed me some documents, right? The documents were this thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I printed off everything that I had to sign, they didn't have DocuSign when I bought my home. That first one. It was this thick of documents to sign. I bailed out. I freaked out. Right? I freaked out and I bailed. And for a year, I dodged my real estate broker because I was overwhelmed. Oh, there's this ton of paperwork. Oh, I gotta pay for a property inspection. Oh, I gotta pay for an appraisal. Oh, I gotta have some, like you said, cash reserves, and my money was kind of funny at the time. Yeah. And I'm like, 1 minute I'm like a high roller, the next, I was Navy. The next minute, we in a government shutdown. I'm like, what's up? Yeah. I can't do this. I don't have the money, and just the fear of there's no landlord to call when something breaks. There's no maintenance team that I can say, hey, Bob, my filter's been a little dirty. Can you go change it? I'm about to go to work. Can you change it when I get back to my apartment? None of that. So I bailed. I freaked out. And no one knows that. I have not told a soul until now that I freaked out on buying my first. It's intimidation, man. So I asked you that because that person who's afraid, I was there. You was there. We were all there. I was there, afraid to take that first step, right? To make the move and to finish what I started.
Yeah.
So that is powerful, to be able to finish what we start, especially us. And I keep saying us because we are not retiring well. As a Black community, we are living longer, but we're not retiring well. We're not retiring when we're supposed to. And so I need this knowledge that you have to get out, because you were able to overcome it, and to show that you can do it. If you can do it, if I can do it, we can do it too. Any one of us. Sure. But we have to come forward. We have to come out. We have to go public with what we know. And to not, we can't do this. There is someone right now watching you, realizing, man, he looked like me. He's not Joe Budden. He's not Bill Gates.
I
He's
don't shoot
not
hoops.
right. He's not a basketball player. He's not a pro ball player. He's not a pro athlete. He looks like me. And I'm not trying to talk you down
No,
or
I get it.
but I'm trying to say that anyone, us, we can do this. We can do this. And you had the support and the encouragement and the poking of your wife to yep.
Yeah.
to get she didn't berate you. She didn't diminish you as a man. She just said, take a look at this. Take a look at this. Oh, look at this. That's all it took. And now you gain something and something that no one can ever take from you.
True.
And that's truly
That's big. That's big.
That's huge. What are some tips to beware of? What are some tips that you would recommend to people who are interested in buying land at auction? What things that you experienced at the auction house or the tax office that you didn't like? Things that you didn't like how they approached it. You felt that could have did a better job. Maybe instead of give you a list. Hey, you might want to have a laptop. Bring your own laptop so that you can look up these properties, because it sounds like they had a board of the property that you could look at so you can kind of get an idea what it looks like, or no?
So for some reason, there was, for the most part, I was satisfied because we knew going in what we wanted.
Yep.
But I did notice little weird things, like next door, they put up like a tiny little stake, right? And a pink sheet of paper attached to the stake that would blow away, saying that this lot is for sale and, the lot number and everything. But we ended up taking the stake and putting it back because it fell down so much. And it was tiny, and nobody was cutting the grass, of course. So it was overgrown, and it's like, that's how you advertise for your sale? Okay. So it seems like you already have to be in the game to play.
Yep.
And that was weird to me. And I don't hold them responsible, because if I'm trying to offer you something that you want, because people want property, it's not like it's a random person trying to sell and they want to bid you. No. So I get that. What I would suggest with anything, research. If you see, don't just show up that day and you saw, okay, don't see me and think that, okay, he just showed up one day. That's not what happened. And most of those people there, I'm sure most of them didn't just show up that day with money and I'm going to buy something today.
Yep.
Talk to your county tax commissioner, ask them, because I did ask the commissioner when I had him on the line every single question I could think of. And I think you should too. Research. Find someone who's done it before, maybe. If you have I know most people, they may not even know it, but most people have friends that are in real estate.
Yep.
I see you coming. So there's realtors and, again, property inspectors, contractors. If you know someone who's in the trades, most likely they've worked on a house, talk to them. That's what I would suggest, because nobody's gonna give you the information.
That's true. That's so true. That's powerful. And in the age of information, knowledge is power. We are too ignorant these days to continue to remain ignorant when it's at our fingertips. It's Google. It's Googleable. Is that a word? Googleable.
Yeah, we'll make it a word. It isn't. It's in it.
There's too much out there. I can't. There are days, nights I stay up just reading and consuming content and consuming. And I spent a lot of time reading. I spent a lot of time on the internet researching, and the next click gets me to the next click, and the next click gets me to the next click, and I'm just diving deeper, and I find myself in this pool of information that was accessible to me all along.
Of course, man. Just go on YouTube, put in what do I need to know about real estate. Just go on autoplay. Just let YouTube play and see what happens. And it always boggles my mind that it, like you said, in the age of information, people will send you things and question you, but it's like you could have looked that up. It took me 5 seconds to pull up all this information that you too can look at. And you should.
It's true. It's so true. It's powerful. What 3 books? We're closing out. What 3 books would you recommend that every person read, every man, woman read, that has been powerful to you?
I would recommend just kind of staying in what has my mindset on the future and investing. One, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I don't want to butcher his name too bad.
You good.
So when I read that book, I loved it because he really put into perspective how being broke and being rich is literally a state of mind. Because when you're broke, you think broke thoughts. And your mindset is in a state of constant lack. That's where you're living from. You're living from survival. You're living for the next day. You're not thinking too far ahead. And sometimes the pressure that you have from being without, it forces you to feel that way, though. That I could never think about buying a home. I could barely find food today. But the Rich Dad, Poor Dad puts it all into perspective. Like, you're not investing in anything. You're not investing into your children, or you're not investing into the next move, the next year, 5 years. You should definitely get your head in a position to change what you do and how you live. And that book did that for me. Another one, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's another one about your mindset, because again, coming from a small island, love St. Croix to death. I appreciate it. It made me who I am.
Yep.
But I didn't get to see much. And my mindset was coming from a state of lack. And Think and Grow Rich, it talks a lot about the power of the law of attraction and, doing vision boards and positive affirmations and just getting out of concern for what you see and more of what it could be. Because from the time you think it, you can become that. Like Henry Ford, I hope that's his name.
Yep.
When he started Ford, he wasn't an engineer. He wasn't all of these things that you need to be to create a car company. No, but he knew that he can find people who can do it. He knew that he could find people that could come together, and all he did was make an assembly line, and then they made cars. And now we're still buying Fords, though.
Yep. Ain't that crazy?
Here we are. He's long gone, and we're still buying Fords. He was not a car guy.
He wasn't, but he had a vision. Exactly. He had a plan. He had the most powerful thing I ever heard was I've never went to Harvard, but I have people from Harvard who work for me.
Oh, and you have to have that degree to get in the door, don't you?
Right, but the person that owns it never stepped foot in Harvard.
I didn't pay for that, but you did. Come on.
I'm gonna make it a requirement for you, but I didn't need it. That's powerful, bro. That's so powerful. Yo, that in itself, Robert Kiyosaki opened, I think, a lot of entrepreneurs' minds to, yes, real estate, but just thinking that something there's something else out there. There's
Yeah.
something else besides what we were taught, what we were exposed to, traditionally. Looking, there's something bigger than us. There's something bigger than what I can see directly in front of me. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad was my first book as well,
Mm.
and it was so crazy to me. I was like, man, I wish I had two dads. I wish I had a rich dad and poor dad, so I could, one in bit. I'm still waiting for the day. My dad, Gary Norman, I'm still waiting for the day for him to tell us, "Hey, man, this was all just bogus. We're really rich. I just wanted you to experience life for yourself. But now I see you ready. Come and get this money." I'm still waiting for that. So, Mr. Norman, I'm ready. If you're ready to
I'm sure
spill
he's
the
never
beans.
went without though.
No, he never went without. He never made sure we went without.
Exactly.
Which is why he's one of the most influential men in my life. Who is your hero and why?
Well, okay, so I don't like to call anyone hero or idolize anyone because I've learned when I was trying to find myself when I was younger, heroes and idols will always disappoint you. Not
True.
because they're less than, but because we're all human and we're all fallible creatures. But I'm glad you brought up your father because he's actually my greatest mentor. And seeing him, how deeply entrenched he was in the community as far as his social work, and then how his students talked about him. And this man taught me how to read. And I think that was one of the most powerful things he did for me, was taught me how to read. Because me being able to read books and being able to read when I was in the third grade at a sixth grade level, I was able to explore and enjoy books, and books took me out of my environment,
Powerful.
because where we grew up,
Yep.
it was hard.
Yep.
But books allowed me to expand my knowledge of places that I've never been. And it gave me that appetite to go there, which again may have been the reason why I joined the military, because I wanted to see these things for myself and experience things. And I love your dad so much because I was not his birth son, but he never made me feel like I wasn't his. And I appreciate that man so much. And he was one of the greatest mentors I've ever had. He showed me, what it's like to be a man and stand up for your family. And I've never experienced him like just not being there. So I appreciate him.
Mm. Thank you for that. I'm gonna
One
tell.
more book, because I left one off.
No
Born
problem.
a Crime by Trevor Noah.
Who is it?
Everybody on earth should read that.
What is it called?
Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. He's a comedian, but I swear this man and like Dave Chappelle are two of the most insightful people on earth. They could put things into perspective in a way that a lot of people can't do. And Born a Crime, it's a story of him growing up, being born in South Africa during apartheid, where he was literally born a crime. And even as he speaks on South Africa, like, you could take what he's saying and just implant it in America, in back home, anywhere on earth, and what he says makes sense. Because we, like you were saying, we act the same way no matter where we are. And just his stories and the way he puts things into perspective, it forces you to look outside of yourself and find commonalities in people. And I think everyone should read that.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm writing that down. So forgive me if I'm looking down.
Yeah, Born a
Um,
Crime, Trevor
I
Noah.
haven't I haven't read that one. I've read the first two, but not that one. What do you know today that you wish you had known? Um, let's say 10 years ago.
Huh. Everything. Everything I know now, I wish I could. I wish I could have had 10 years ago, because I was a completely different person 10 years ago.
Do you think you'd still join the Navy? Bum 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 bum.
Okay, you put me on the hot seat for real. I would have joined. I would have joined with a different mindset because, like anything else, the way that your attitude and your mindset affects how people treat you and how things happen for you. And I was a knucklehead. I was young, rebellious, didn't like authority, and that's going into the military and not having respect for authority does not go together. So I would have had a different mindset, and I probably would have gone further, but it's the way it worked out, and it did teach me a lot.
So one thing, remember, y'all, I followed my brother into the Navy. I was trying to keep the line going.
Onto a submarine.
I went subs. I went into the Navy, and I think for a short spill, my brother and I had lost a little bit of contact. So I didn't get to question him and be like, yo, where's the best spot? All he always said to me was go officer, go officer, go officer. He never told me where. He never told me, what. And I went enlisted, and I went into the submarine force. So for my time in the Navy, I was in the submarines, Trident class submarines. And it was unique for me because I didn't respect authority either. I was a huge knucklehead. But when I saw what I saw, I don't think I could tell you. When I saw what I saw, I shut the hell up. And one of my saving grace, and my brother will probably say the same, is one of his saving graces, the Navy advances you off of a test. Versus the other branches that advance you off of merit. So you are held accountable. Your promotion is held to you in the Navy based off of how well you study and do on an exam. And I don't think I would have gotten where I was in the Navy off of my merit, but I got where I was because I was a good test taker. And that was my saving grace. That I want to share that saved me, because if it was just solely based off of my character, I would have been an E1 my whole career, and that was my saving grace, right? Because they can't hold you back if you pass the test. They can't keep it from you, right? Because you earned it you got the score, you met the requirement, you did the time in rate, you did the time in your pay grade. They had to give it to you. And that was a huge factor that I didn't even know going in. But when I learned that the Navy was the only branch that did that, I was like, thank God. Yeah. And my brother was able to advance, and I was able to advance and following his footsteps because I could study, because we both, just like he said, we both were under the tutelage of the same male influence. And so he was a reader, I was a reader. That's not by accident. True. And there's a lot of people today in the military who don't read. And so they never advance, and they cry and they complain when all you have to do is study. You just got to read. And so that was impactful. I surpassed people I started the military with. I surpassed them because I was an avid reader. Same. Yeah. You see? So it's not a coincidence that happened. My brother, how can, this was powerful for me. I know it was impactful for my audience here. How can, as we grow, as we develop, how can people reach out to you if they, have some tips after the show, if they want to just pick your brain for a second? Because like we talked about earlier, it's not easy balancing family, military, marriage, quality time, the kids. How can people reach you? Are you on any social media platforms? Do you own any social groups?
So I have a few things going on, a lot of things that I want to do. Right now on Facebook, there's our group. It's called Same Difference. And you can take that name. That's exactly what it is. We're discussing, having deep conversations, and you bring it to the group. We talk about it. I have in the past, at my detriment, put my own information in that group about what's going on with me because I want us to be able to come and really talk about it and be honest. It's called Same Difference. It's a closed group, so you do have to look it up. And in the works right now, I do want to start my own podcast, and I did lock down my name. And thanks to the sister that you just had on, I already have samediff.info,
Yeah.
SAMEDIFF.info, and I plan on getting the .net and the .com version too, thanks to the sister. And on Instagram, it's
Latanya Moore.
VI, it's VI underscore very underscore own, VI very own on Instagram. And you can hit me up on Messenger. I don't care who you are. If you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you. Just I love talking to people and finding out, how they really feel. I'm not a small talk person. I like big talk. So feel free to reach out.
And that was VI underscore
Very
very
underscore own. VI very own.
perfect. Perfect. Big bro, I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you for connecting. I want to thank you for allowing me to take this time out of your busy day, your busy schedule, and take you away from your family partially to share and to help and to give back. Um, Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you, big bro. I love you, and thank you for being a part of my life and continuing to be a part of my life. Um, because we're family. Um, that bears no weight to the amount of influence you've had in my life. I could have still met you on the street, and I think you would still have the big impact that you have today on my life and influence my life, whether you were my brother or not. And I thank you for that. Us crossing paths. Like I said, this man, he'll never admit it because he has a high IQ and EQ, and so he's very humble, and he'll never, but this man, anyone that has crossed his path has been influenced by him in some way. And so when I keep bigging him up like this, he'll deny it. But when I keep bigging him up like this, it's the truth. Anyone that comes across him learns something, grows, or they get out of his way. Right? Because some people can't handle it, right? Some
True.
people aren't ready for that big talk, right?
True.
Because you're gonna tell them, hey man, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And some people are ready for it, and some people aren't ready to go on that train with you. And
And I
so
appreciate that because I have my mouth has gotten me in a lot of trouble because I don't say things which I'm working on. I'm meditating, I'm looking more introspectively, and I'm working on me. So I'm trying to come off more inviting. But you've heard what I said, even though you may not do it. You've always listened to what I say and, done your own thing and processed it. And you're making huge moves, man. You don't know it, but you inspire me as well. So I hope we keep pushing each other. Like they say, iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. And I appreciate you for having me on the show. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
thank you, big bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all for subscribing. I appreciate you taking the time out of y'all busy day to spend some time with us and to grow with us and to learn with us. And like I always end my show, this is Marcus Norman and Jah-Malie Douglas. And so, ladies and gentlemen, take care of your families, take care of your friends, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman and Jah-Malie Douglas signing off from Gentleman Style Podcast. Have a great